In this lecture, we are going to be working on the responsiveness of the website that we're building. In the last lecture, when we previewed this on an iPhone 5s, you can see here that the menu is a bit disorganized. In order for us to make our website responsive, which is a very important thing for any website that is being developed today, we need to make use of media queries. Media queries will allow us to target specific screen sizes and then define CSS rules for those screen sizes. Because there are so many screen sizes today, it became very difficult for developers to actually design websites that can adapt based on the user's device. This resulted in the need for something that can be used to actually build websites that can scale on different device sizes, hence the reason for media query. We're going to be using media query to actually make our site responsive. So the first thing that we want to do is to actually come again to our document, and right here we are going to say at media or and then open and close bracket. Inside of here, we want to target the max width of a specific device. Okay, so we're going to say max width 768 pixels. So what we are saying here is any device that the maximum width is below 768, we want the CSS rule that we are going to define inside of here, okay, to apply to them. All right, so let's put a comment here. Target small screens. All right, so the first problem that we want to target will be our navigation. So I'm just going to grab this and this, and then we are going to put it here, and then make sure that we are saying this is inside of the container. So let's prefix the container here, and then also prefix the container here. So what we need to do now is remove those things that we are not going to change. Like the display, we don't want to change it. The color and text decoration, all of this we don't want to change. What we do want to change will be the size. So let's say we want to make this 13. And then the padding right and left, we also want to reduce that. Let's say we want to make this 6. So let's just save this first and try to reload on the browser. Okay, so going to reload, and then we're going to go back here and look for iPhone 5X. Okay, so you see right now that the menu is fitting in for iPhone 5X. Okay, so we scale it down a little bit, still fitting in to actually fit this device. Okay. All right, so by the time we drag it to a specific width, you can see that it actually returned back to being the original size that we defined. Okay, so up until this point, still targeting for small screens. All right, so depending on you, you can actually play with the sizes here. The reason why I'm using 768 here is because there are some smartphones that are actually wide nowadays. You have some very widescreen smartphones. So if we target this wide range, we can get from the lowest to at least 768. So if we want to target anything bigger than 768, then we need to define another media query, which is what we are going to do here. Okay, so we can actually just grab this and then paste it here. Now we want to target anything that is bigger than 768. So we are going to be saying here minimum width, right? So we can say minimum device width or minimum width, whichever you want to choose. So we can say minimum device width 768. Can use other options here also, like let's say we want to say at media only screen. So means so we say only screen. All right, so there are different ways that we can actually do this, like we did previously at media or, which means anything that actually satisfies the condition that we want to target here. Okay, so let's use only screen now. And then we don't want to stop here. We want to say and then open and close bracket. And then now we want to target the maximum device width. So we can say max device width. Okay, so for a tablet, we target 1024 px as the maximum. So for anything tablet, this is what we are actually targeting. Between 768 and then 1024, this will actually be a tablet. Anything bigger than 1024 will be a desktop screen. So if we want to make the menu a little bit bigger on tablet, we could just increase that and then also increase the padding. All depends on how you actually want to scale your site. So we can leave this at 10. Then let's try to view this on an iPad. So let's say we choose iPad mini portrait. Okay, no much difference. Let's choose a bigger one. Let's choose an iPad. Okay, so you see that the size is actually different for an iPad. If we choose an iPhone 6s, which is also big. Okay, so iPhone 6s Plus portrait. Everything still scales correctly. Alright, so let's come over again to the code and then get rid of this because we're not changing anything here. So as we move on, when we want to target things for small screen, we are going to define a CSS rule here. We want to target for tablets, we'll define a CSS rule here. And then we can also have another one for large screens. Or we can actually start by defining the CSS property to actually target the small screen initially, and then we use the media query for medium and large screens. Okay, so one more thing before we go, we want to make this container 98% when it is on a small screen. I'm just going to bring it here and then get rid of all of these. Want to make this 98 and then just get rid of this. Right, so when we are on a small screen, we want the width of the container to be 98%. All right, let's just do a reload. All right, everything looks good so far. Let's come back to the code and then get rid of the div that we have here. That will be all for this lecture. In the next lecture, we are going to be setting up the grid system that we'll be using for this project.